And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Ian White. That's my main man, King E. And finally, after, carry the 5, 6, a lot of time, we're back doing a podcast. Back again after spending time with the family, cheering up all those flat booty girls up in Buffalo, New York City. The main man, King. What up, man?
To the millions in attendance and to the billions watching at home. Finally, Ion Esports has come back to a device near you. Ian, I'm doing great. Feels good to be back. What's new?
Well, it's actually a lot of things. Well, we just learned today that NRG, aka CLG, after 7 years of being nope, being on early vacation, made worlds. We know it's C9, 10 straight years of making worlds. That's not a bad start.
Not a bad start. Not a bad start at all. So how are you feeling about the current LCS and their prospects for Worlds?
Well, we already know that this year we are back to near airport once again. It all depends what the meta is. Like, we've learned that it doesn't matter how hot a team is. The reason why FunFlux Phoenix won Worlds over G2, I believe, in Europe. Correct me wrong, that wasn't Europe, France, right? That was the year of Giants. The thing is that the song that came out of Worlds that still we have all the groups in the world hasn't not got an LP. Where's the LP? Anyway, I digress. But we've seen that FunFlux Phoenix won because the child change. Worlds is weird, and like no matter how we look at like pro esports, especially in this time, it's all about the meta. If the meta fits NA, let the best team win. But generally, the meta seems to flip in a way that the NA teams are trying to play a style, copy someone else's style instead of playing what they do best. And sometimes that falls astray.
Okay. Do you have any positive outlooks? Do you think anyone? So far we know NRG and you said Cloud9.
C9,
right? Per usual.
And you know that JDG just won Spring, MSI, and now won Summer.
Yes.
So comes down to, okay, so what's going down the premium with the premium teams and how it's going to play out. Now, we are happy to see some Western teams make it. Hopefully they can put on a good show in the play-in stages.
Yes.
Play well in the Switch stage, which I actually took the liberty of putting a little PowerPoint together, explaining how the format is and how it works.
So for those watching that are unfamiliar, but I would hope that if you're watching the show, you have a little bit of understanding of League of Legends. We do kind of get into the weeds with some things, but if you are new to the scene, please don't let that overwhelm you. We will be right here with you, rocking with you, so that way you get a better understanding of some of the things that we discuss. For the format, they have 22 teams that are invited to the World Championship, 4 from Korea, 4 from China, 3 from the EMEA region, 3 from North America, 2 from the PCS, which is Taiwan, Hong Kong, Morocco, Southeast Asia, and Oceania. And Oceania is basically just like Australia. And what's the other place that I'm forgetting with all my brothers that do the Haku?
New Zealand?
New Zealand, thank you. And then 2 from Vietnam, 1 from Japan, 1 from Brazil, 1 from Latin America, and 1 from the world's qualifying series.
There's a battle royale, a double elimination battle royale to get the last spot.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. They generally have their stage. The stage 1 is the playing stage. So 8 teams participate. Teams are drawn into 2 double elimination brackets for this year. So this is, did they do the double elim last year?
I think they started. I think this is the first year they're doing it.
Yeah, they did it in MSI. They did it in MSI. this year. So this is the first world championship with the double elimination bracket in the playing stage. Um, and all that means is if you lose, you go down to a lower bracket where you have a chance to regain your spot to play for the championship. So it's not one and done if you get knocked out of the tournament. Um,
I'm sorry. I make this wonderful little PowerPoint taking a picture, and unfortunately, I can't bring up the picture.
it happens. Stage two is where the teams that have advanced, the two best teams out of the best of fives, advance to the second stage, and this is called like a Swiss, or some people know it from the college, the NCAA college basketball,
World
where,
Series,
huh?
College World Series, college.
College World Series. Sorry. 16 teams participate, 14 teams pre-qualify. The two teams, like I mentioned earlier, are the ones that get in through the playing stage. And the Swiss style is a format of 5 rounds. Teams with 3 wins advance, and to this third stage, and teams with 3 losses are eliminated. Qualifications and elimination matches are all best of 3, and all their matches are best of 1.
Yes, this is basically you win your first game. The best of the if you win 2-0, congratulations. You don't have to play anymore. Congratulations, you don't have to play anymore.
You made
You
it.
go first and second.
You
Congratulations, you're done.
made it.
You're done.
Which brings us to the third stage. The third stage is the knockout stage, where the 8 qualifiers from stage two are granted entrance. The single It's a single elimination bracket, which is where I am a little perturbed about the format. I think they had it right with the double elimination because it really lets you see all the teams play against other teams and figure out who's really, deserving. Because if a lower bracket team gets knocked down and they make a comeback and then they get beat again by the team that didn't lose, then you know definitively that team was the best. But if a team loses, gets knocked down, and then they're able to make a miracle run, not even a miracle run, if they're just able to play the way that they know they can and they win the tournament, then you know that maybe that first day was an off day. You know what I mean? But either way, these matches are all best of 5, and that will lead into the championship matches where you'll have the third and fourth place match and then the grand final of the tournament. Now, this tournament for Worlds will be taking place in South Korea, and I believe it's going to be held.
At
Um,
at a baseball stadium. The first
oh,
time at a
okay.
yeah. So it starts in Low Park. They play the first games in Korea. They'll go down to Busan, which, by the way, my friend Jenny Lee, she's a IRL streamer. She's from there. They'll play the knockout stage. Into the championship. The championship will be played back into the baseball stadium in Worlds. By the way, tickets on sale right now for the group stage. They're about $10 to $15. And if anyone's looking to going, if you're on the West Coast, you're looking at minimum at a $1,300 ticket
So another cool part
round
of
trip.
it, well, not cool part. The one thing that Worlds, the bittersweet of Worlds is it is a long tournament. It's about a month long, a little over a month. It starts October 10th, and I believe it ends November 19th. So it's a little over a month. And on the negative side, it's over a month. Like, you're watching it week to week to week to week, especially with the plans. Sometimes the early games that don't really like matter kind of feel a little daunting. But then the great part about it is you get to see a lot of league. You get to see a lot of high level play. And I think we're getting so close to the right format in which we'll be able to see the best high level play on a consistent value.
And give me 1 second. I had a hyperlink I saved when I was looking up prices earlier. It was about 18. It was about $1,800. It was 1888 for myself to go to here to Worlds, but I have to take a connecting flight to get to the international flight out of here. You was actually even little less expensive because you can hop Buffalo to Dallas and get somewhere else. But it's around $1,800. If you live on the West Coast, you're eating good.
Uh-huh.
But I did find this ironic that it's $1,300 to go from Korea to Salt Lake.
Okay.
But anyway, that's a side segment. So yes, for those looking for price, yes, it's about the tickets around $10 to $15 to go. For those who don't know, the Korean won is worth nothing. to the American dollar. So it's in theory, if you had your money saved up, you could bills. The conversion rate's not that great. I
Oh,
mean,
I think you cut out at the end there. If you could say that again.
sorry, let me move my mic closer to me. I apologize. Basically, the Korean won is not worth as much as the American dollar. How
Okay.
much so is it's about my friend Jeannie who's trying to come to Jeannie's trying to come from Chris said basically she has to take a train ride to Icheon, which is Korean international Korean Seoul to Salt Lake. It is 1304 American dollars translated,
Okay.
but it's 1800 for me King and I to go west to Korea. It's not worth a lot of money. So if you did your homework and saved up, this is you cover you take your month worth of vacation, boom, bean by boom pound, you chilling.
And you're good to go. Yeah.
But make sure you pay your
Um,
bills. Always pay your bills, kids,
pay your bills, stay on top of yourself, be responsible. Drink
because
water,
this
please.
is
Stay
thou shalt
hydrated.
thou shalt not forget those. One simply cannot. Ruin the reference. Supposedly,
You're
one
fine. You're
simply
fine.
does not. One simply does not like to be in the dark.
True. True. Pay your water bill. Pay your light bills.
It gets hot down here.
Yeah. So what is next on the docket?
Oh, this is where like again King mentioned earlier that he had a problem and like a double elimination. So I kind of asked this little question: if we had double elimination, I'm going to go on my little PowerPoint that only y'all can see. If we do a best of five, if we do a knockout stage, right, and
Yes.
if we do a best of five, would you rather see those games turn to best of threes, or would you rather see those best of threes turn into another set of best of threes in a loser bracket to go back to the best of five?
So I think part of me when I think about tournament play, especially for the fans that actually care, I think about StarCraft, right? StarCraft will hold like nightly events that are like 4 to 8 hours long, right? If the tournament need not even the tournament, if the phase of the tournament needs to be an 8 hour long endeavor, the fans understand it because they're excited about seeing the players that they support, as well as the game being played at such a high level that they appreciate and like love, right? I think what ends up happening with League of Legends is Riot is trying, has been, and always has been, trying to not like placate to the more hardcore of the fan base, but play more towards acquiring viewership. So then to validate themselves in the greater scheme of um I guess the greater scheme of uh like television. You know, they want to be compared to the NFL and not so much be compared to other esports, which I understand. So you always have to be like further and further expanding, right? But the problem with that is when you are constantly expanding, you tend to forget the people that got you to the dance, right? And for the fans of, let's just even call it like the Reginald TSM and the Hot Shot um, CLG, yes, they're still probably fans of the current team, but they feel a little left behind in that sense. And they probably just care about the best gameplay because the people that brought them into the scene are no longer there or no longer present or no longer front facing. So being able to watch high level, high skill games keeps people engaged because regardless, as Riot says, that the pro scene or the pro circuit of League of Legends for them is a marketing advertisement, right? And as long as Riot is looking at the pro scene of League of Legends as a marketing advertisement, then they need to put their best foot forward in giving the fans what they want, which is the best level of play.
Yeah, I decided to give you the full forefront of the unit, let you talk because I don't know nothing. So I'm letting my boy King spit the facts real quick. So that way, and then that's why I changed the camera the way I did. I want to make sure you got the full brunt, the full conversation. Like, yeah, this on you.
Of course, I appreciate that.
besides, he's the real star of the show. I'm just the wacky sidekick that just somehow keeps the show
Oh,
along.
there's no way. You're actually the full
I'm
blown.
Patrick.
You Patrick. You live under a rock. But
Yeah, it's a
but yeah,
but
I think. Oh, go on. Go ahead.
but I'm guessing where and this is where we actually spent about the last 3 weeks trying to come up with something, and I came up with something completely different than what he came up with. Oh, he came up with. I'm sorry. But and we'll get into that. We'll get into it right after
These
because
commercial breaks. No,
after
I'm joking.
we acknowledge something, ladies and gentlemen, this Worlds will mark the 10th year if Faker makes Worlds. I'm not sure he did. If he did, this will mark the 10th anniversary of Faker, who showed up in a summer LCK and took our hearts away. And ever since that day, he's grown himself to be the GOAT, the greatest of all time. The number one face on the board Washington on the Mount Rushmore of esports. Now as you also know, and a little side tangent, my boy King is a big T1 fan since the early days.
I mean,
My
early
friend
days
who's
in the
actually
sense
watching
of
the stream,
like before. I mean, like before uh Call of Duty.
my
Or why
friend
did I say
who's
Call of Duty
also a
before League of Legends? When they were playing StarCraft. That's how long I've been following them.
yeah, my friend. Oh, I got a chat for you. Realize. Oh, that's just me. Okay, cool. So, strange stream was kicking in. Anyway, so for those who don't know, this is the 10th year of Faker's pro play. This is also the 10th year of BTS's reign on the pop culture. But only one of these people, only one of these things is serving military time. So, the real question is, what happens to Faker? Your thoughts on Faker and his pending
So
military service?
I mean, I don't know if you've been keeping up, but Faker actually has spent the better, I would say, the last half of this season benched. He had an injury pertaining to his wrist. Um, it was so bad to the point where he couldn't like lift up his arm, and he had to take a handful of weeks off to be able to rest, recuperate, and get back into the game. T1 went on a monstrous loss streak, fell down to, I believe, seventh place. And then last week, Faker returned and they were able to 2-0 KDF, Kongdu. And we can only hope that this is the start of a great run that will allow them to go to Worlds and hopefully have a Cinderella story of barely making it, getting into it, and having Faker win. Hopefully, his what are we going to call it? His fourth? Yeah, I think it's his
It'd be
fourth
his
world
fifth.
champion.
It'd be his fifth appearance in the World Championship. But because remember he lost to DRX last year.
No, it'll be his like sixth or seventh because he lost to DRX and he's lost to Samsung, but they
I'm talking
have
about the finals. Hold on,
oh just
wait,
the finals.
hold up. This is. Let me use the power of the internet real quick. All
No, I'm
right,
telling you, they won in 2013, and then they won
they
in
won in
15, 16,
15 and 16.
yeah, and then they lost in 17, lost in got knocked out early in 19, and then lost last year to DRX. So I want to say, yeah, this would be his seventh appearance to the
I
World
was going by
Championship.
just finals made. Just
Fair as well. Fair.
because
I think failure Faker's legacy will always have like a strange asterisk because if Faker had retired in like season 8, no one would even bat an eye at. I mean, no one really does, but like him not winning a world championship in 6 years now, 7 years, I believe since 2016, right? That's his last world championship.
yep.
Anyway, yeah. So him not winning a championship in that long of a run, while still playing at an incredibly high level, allows for detractors and people to say, oh, he was never that good or he's been great, but he's he wasn't good enough to consistently get it done. When I mean, even when he was losing world championships, he was winning LCK championships. It's only in recent years that he hasn't been able to clutch out um, LCK championships, and I think we hold some of these athletes, esports athletes, and modern day athletes to such a high standard. Like LeBron James is still playing basketball. I think this is
Year
20th or
20,
21st. Yeah, this is
20,
20th.
20. He's been over 20 plus years.
Yeah,
This be his 20th year this year
yeah.
because he
So
came out with pre-draft.
so LeBron is going into his 20th year of basketball. There are people that were born when he started playing basketball have watched LeBron play basketball their entire lives, and next year or the year after will have the opportunity to play with LeBron James. Do you understand how insane that is? Now, if you take it to the esports side, there are people, like there are a bunch of young players that are just getting into the scene. I mean, like in America, we have what's the mid laner? Jojo Pion. He was the uh
JoJo.
he was the uh Fortnite
He's
player
a
that
mid laner
trend
for I think Dig.
EG, or it might be Dig now. But he started off as a Fortnite player and made the switch to League of Legends. But like by the time he had loaded up his first game of League of Legends, Faker had already been a champion twice over. So it's one of those things where it's like now you have someone who's played for a decade, and kids that were in elementary school, their older siblings played League and whatnot, are now playing with him, looking up to him, joining him on team. Same thing with Deft, because Deft and Faker went to high school together. So it's a great accomplishment. It's a very prestigious thing to be able to have that level of longevity in your career, and also have the success that comes with it, and continue to play at that high level, play at that high skill.
JoJo's first season was 2020. He started in the COVID year. Obviously, he started in the COVID year, and he's 18 years old.
That's what I'm saying. He's a kid compared to like a double lift or a faker or a you
He's an
know
old man.
frogging. Yeah,
Also, I was also second thing I was wrong. It is EG. Second thing I'm also wrong.
no worries, no worries.
I thought we like to stick we like to have the facts right, ladies and gentlemen. But I went back through and I'm trying to see like I said, I think he's won 3 world championships.
Okay,
Faker's won 3. 2013, 15, 16. He's repeat. He's been knocked. Is it? And then he lost to. He lost to DRX in the year DRX won. He lost to them. So like Faker has the opportunity to get 4 rings, which a lot of esports athletes haven't.
would
It's
love
kind of
to.
hard.
They
It's hard
would.
to
They
get 4.
would.
Period.
They would love
It's really
to.
hard to do it
Oh, yeah,
kitty time.
yeah. If you already heard him, it is Neo Boy. He is here. He has joined the show. He just wants some attention.
This is I just heard a very heartwarming story of a Labrador that took care that raised three tiger cubs at the zoo
Oh, that's
when their
cool.
mama abandoned them. Well, that really abandoned. Something happened to the mama, and they were abandoned.
Got you.
And
Um,
basically, short in the story, she raised them despite the fact that they're not her kids.
yeah, that
She
happens
falls.
every day. Now,
She falls into
oh,
a tiger
I know
den.
what he wants. If I'll let you keep on going. If you'll give me 1 second, I'll be right back.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll hide that real quick. But yeah, essentially, what happened? Storm came through. The dog fell into the pen. The dog fell into the tiger pen. Her tiger cubs actually save her from the other 6 tigers that are ready to kill a dog that walked into their territory.
I'm back.
But yeah, that's basically that sums the story up real quick.
Okay.
But outside of that, is it? I think it's time for. Oh yeah, I think you answered that question, but I just remember you. How would you want to? How would you break up the knockout stage? You throw in double in because I think it's kind of crazy to force these guys to play like best of five. Oh, you lost. By the way, have fun playing another best of five to play that best of five.
Um, I mean, the reason why I like best of fives in League of Legends is because there's so much variation. Now, I would be okay with a best of three, but I would do a best of three with a champion ban um kind of setup. So basically, um you would start to eliminate the champions. You would start to eliminate the champions that were picked or utilized in the previous rounds. So every match you would eliminate effectively 10 champions that couldn't be played in the next match. Then I would be fine with best of 3 because you couldn't do a best of 5 or else you'd run out of champions or at least viable strategies. My issue is when you do have these super long, drawn out best of fives, especially across such a long tournament, the matches start to get a little redundant because the meta settles and teams are more set on working within that settled meta than uh, uh, establishing or countering a meta or developing the changes within the meta um, because they've have honed their skills and practiced these champions for thousands of hours. They don't want to have to now go, okay, during these next 4 weeks, I have to learn to play a new champion and we're just going to wing it and see how that goes, right? So that is the only reason or way that I would accept a best of 3 is if they did a champion ban style. So then that way the games wouldn't all be as similar to like last year. It just kind of devolved into the same like nine like overall. I know they'll be like, oh, this is the most champion diversity we've ever seen, but the majority of the champion diversity stems from the playing stages and the beginning of the tournament. By the time you get into the second stage, it's the same 20, maybe 25 champions. It's the same like 20 champions with a handful of oddballs. You get the same mid laners, you get the same uh, junglers generally, the same bot lanes, especially, oh my goodness, the bot lane metas get so stale because it's,
The Yumi,
yeah,
the
like the Yumi Zumi, Sivir Lulu. I remember that was the meta for last year's, and it was just like, okay, so we get it. We're not gonna get away from this. And then the what was it? I think what's the girl? Kaisa was thrown into the mix late, but primarily it was like Sivir Yumi, Simmer Lulu, Zeri Yumi, and in different variation. And then if there was like a surprise pick, it was like Zeri Rakan. Whoa, different, crazy, but it was short lived.
yeah, it's as we know, it's a, athletes are creatures of habit. I know this because I followed baseball all my life, and until this year, until they start putting a back pitch clock in there and a time clock, and that you can get timed out. A bat used to take 3 to 5. It used to, for one pitch, there's a whole routine that you go on because again, creatures of habit. You're trying to do whatever you need to do to perform for that quick instant, that quick point. That kind of changed. Now I like the idea of say 10 bands, and then it's like so that means 10 plus bands, so it's 15 bands, right? Because you get 10 bands plus the 5 in the draft.
I don't know. I might do something where it's
Is that
like
20 band? That's a 20 band.
Hmm. Oh, so if the champions are banned out, they're allowed back into the next rotation. It's not like the 10 champions that are banned plus the 10 champions that are played, right? It would just be the 10 champions that were played are off of the market
No, but I'm saying we're looking at almost like a 20 piece.
at the end, near the end, yeah. So you'd be like So it'd be 10, 20, and then in your last game, you'd ban another 10 champions. So yeah, you'd be looking at 30 bans effectively in your last game. But
So I mean,
so the reason why, so I guess I should explain why I think this would work, right? Is one, it would show the depth of skill for players because you have to think if you ban what's meta or if you allow what's meta through, let's say you like your depth of strategy is what will shine, right? Let's say in the first round you allow what's meta through, and the second round you allow them to pick their comfort picks, and then you just start target banning, right? So what'll end up happening is um you could set up a draft where um you win out because they can't play what's strongest in the meta and they can't play what picks they're the most comfortable on. And now they're going to like their third and fourth depth chart champion, which clearly isn't going to be good as the meta or their tier one champions, right? Um
it's like fall. It's like Admiral Akbar. You let them fall. You call out the trap. You set it for them.
yeah, yeah. Because again, in my opinion, it would allow for just a greater depth of strategy as well as the ability to just kind of see, not the same champions over and over and over and over and over and over, excuse me, and over again. It'd just be nice.
I could see that. Was also be happy that DFG does not exist.
Oh, the item.
Thank God,
Oh yeah,
because
that was a little. That was
that was 2 years
particularly.
ago. By the way,
I'll
this is
say
a
that
year.
was particularly random, but
Remember, it goes back to the theme of this is year 10 of Faker. When
oh yeah,
Faker
true.
first popped out, DFG was the most evilest item on some champions that shouldn't be one shotting you.
I mean, that's partially why LeBlanc was so devastating, but keeping it in line, keeping it on focus with the tournament styling of the tournament. If they were to create something in that vein, I think it would be one interesting, fun because then you'd get to see a variety of champions. You might even get to see some less meta. Well, you definitely get to see less meta picks because once the meta picks are played, they can't be played again. So let's say the meta in the bot lane are range plus enchanter, and you've seen all the Caitlyn versus Ash matches throughout the tournament. But guess what? Now you might see like Lucian versus Vayne or Ezreal, and then somebody might go Ezreal versus like Viegar as a AD carry, and then your supports, you were initially playing with your Sorakas and your Yumis, but now you're playing like maybe they go, okay, we'll play John and Nami. Then by the end of it, you're like, okay, somebody's going to be playing Lulu, but then someone may pull out like a Xerath or a Vel'Koz or something. You're going to get these, or even if they pick Engage or whatever, you're going to get different looks from different players instead of, I think a lot of teams are able to hide some players on their teams by more or less utilizing meta picks because their champion themselves are strong or broken. Like last year, like Aatrox takes skill, but last year, similar to now, Aatrox was broken, right? So if you are a top tier athlete, right? Aatrox, you should have a pocket Aatrox that you can play and effectively just be able to get through lane. Whereas like, okay, so Aatrox is gone. What are they gonna play? Especially if their skill level isn't on par with the rest of the field. And I just tend to see a lot of players skate by being able to play the Maokai, the
I feel insulted.
feel insulted. I'm talking about in pro play. In pro play, they hide like their top laners with tank picks because they know, okay, this person is gonna get washed in this matchup, so we're just gonna make it so they can scale and then they'll be there for the team fight, which isn't a bad strategy. But when it's that like 10 games in a row, it gets very very boring, and you kind of all the games kind of start to run together. unless something crazy or super exciting happens within a game, you're like, oh yeah, I guess Keen, and Doran played Scion Orn for the 100th time this tournament. Sorry, my brain blanked and I don't remember how the matchup went.
I can see that as I guess this goes back to again. It's so much money on the line. You don't want to take opportunities and chances. But and this is where I'm wondering, like, at what point does the money start playing too much in effect?
I think
And
there could be more money on the line if they were to play into these kind of aspects because more people would tune in. You people people get hyped when they think their champion is going to get picked, let alone when their champion does get picked. Like if
if your
someone
team main ever,
yeah, if someone hovers Timo, the viewership goes up by like 30%. You know what I mean? If
and
somebody
then once he gets locked in, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like if Timo gets locked in, there's a Timo subreddit and a Timo Discord that sends out, the APB. Hey, get in here right now. Faker is playing Timo at Worlds. Faker is playing Timo at Worlds. Like you're gonna get people that I don't even know, dude. Like
That's it.
Timo's a terrible example because I wouldn't be excited to
Oh
see
no,
my
he's not a
Timo.
terrible example. He had some of the most skins in the game. It's the reason. Next to Lux, Ari, every
Misfortune.
girl with boobs ever.
Whoa. Okay. See, that's where you messed up because Annie
I'm not
also
wrong.
has.
I am not wrong
You are wrong.
here.
You are wrong. Annie is in that category. So are you? Are
Well,
we? Are we
also
telling?
Annie's
Are
been
we
10 years.
telling on
Also,
ourselves? Are we self
Annie's been like
snitching?
9 for 10 years.
Are
Also,
we?
a fact, too, 9 for like 10 years.
You are self snitching, sir. All right. This concludes the podcast. I am not associated with this guy over. um,
Listen, hold
but
on. Let me see how many skins Annie has.
she's like, I'm pretty sure
Oh,
Misfortune. I'm pretty sure Misfortune, Annie, and Lux are like
top three.
either either in the three-way or two-way tie. It's up
One,
there.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13, including the 14 classic skins. And was go just so I can solve satiate my hunger to figure out what the heck I just said. Let's see. Now how do I check this? And you said MF?
I want to say I think MF has the most skins in the game. I could be wrong, but I believe that is the
Lux
case.
has 12 and
MF should have 14 or 15.
he has 17.
17. Yeah, MF is out here.
Including like couple prestige ones.
She also has she has like two prestige and she has a legendary or what is it? What is the highest one called? Mythic?
It is legendary. She's the ultimate. What's the ultimate?
Ultimate skin.
She
She
has
has an
Gun
ultimate
Gale.
skin, yeah.
She
So
had one. She has four. No, it's 14 skins, including 15 classic. But she also
I'm
they
not
they
I'm not
call them
counting I'm not counting chromas. I'm just saying skins in general. I want to say
two,
it's
three, four.
Annie, and Lux.
I thought Ari's in that mix, but Ari is not the close to
Ari's
it
up there,
there.
but I think Ari has like 10. I'm in the client. I can actually just look.
I'm not in the client. I'm looking. I'm doing this the old fashioned way. Ari has 13.
Okay, yeah, Ari's up there.
Like, but again, I'm not wrong. It's generally a lot of human based champions or champions have been fan favorites. Like Timo has the most, I believe.
Timo does not have. There's no way. Timo.
Timo has 12.
What
I'm
is it?
sorry, he's not the most, but he's up
Show
there.
on a
I messed up.
2,
He has 13.
6,
He's 12.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He has 14. 14 plus base, so 15. And then what did I say? I said Lux. Lux has
Lux.
Lux has 19 plus Lux has 19 plus base, so you can call that 20.
But that includes the chromas, right?
Misfortune has 19 plus base, so that includes no, these are just skins. So that includes 20. Annie is at 15, and then who was the other one?
You said Annie, Lux, Misfortune,
So Misfortune
Ari,
and Misfortune and Lux are tied.
and I hate to. I know Ash ain't in that category.
Ari's at 17, so she's still down. This is gonna be a fun segment where we just go back and we're like, oh, look who all has skins. Is there a way to show by number of skins? Let's see, 17,
Ash has
12,
14.
13, 15, 11, 13, 9. If I see anything, like I said, Misfortune's at 19 plus 1. It's like when you're talking about a gun, like a magazine, you gotta say plus 1 for the one in the
It went in
chamber.
the chamber.
Yeah, it's really funny.
One of my favorite Steven Crowder segments. Is it six in the chamber? That's one of my favorite segments because he throws that one in the chamber. I was like, I love that one.
Ezreal's 17 plus 1. So yeah, I think I was right. It's Misfortune. It's Misfortune and Lux currently, which says
19.
which says a lot.
Mobilation is showing that she has 19 different. She has seen 19 different skins.
Yeah, they both have 19 currently. And so when I last time I checked, because that's why I said it was Misfortune, this new Lux skin hadn't come out yet.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right.
Riven's at 16.
Yeah, and I have both. I have two of the same skin for.
Yeah, the championship one. I think I do too now.
Yeah, it's a never forget. Richard wanted to buy my account because I had it,
Yeah.
and I remember I bought Riven. I used to play Riven because like it goes back. This goes back to another segment for another time. But back when we first started league and we weren't thinking about our abilities like that segment.
Mm-hmm.
But you come down to like a lot of skin sales, and you start to go back and realize like how far this game has come since the times where if someone AFK, you were screwed,
I mean, you
and your
still
internet
are.
connections were bad.
You still
Your
are,
internet
but
connections were bad.
I think the main difference is like instead of being stuck in a game for until I don't know, forfeit used to be what 25 minutes or something.
Torvald was 20.
Okay, yeah, forfeit surrender at 20. Yeah, so forfeit used to be at 20 minutes, and then you would inevitably not get the first one to go through. Maybe not get the second one, so now you're already at like a 30 some minute game. Like it used to be miserable. Now you can like forfeit at like it felt like 12
Hey,
minutes, bro. It was crazy. And also
I mean,
you can get
Myra
remakes.
Khan wanted to quit just because the fact that I misplayed the this is Lucian the Lucian Leona, and it's like just chill. It's like
You can get remakes. That's the best part about the game currently. You can get remakes, um, just off the break. You can somebody didn't load in, somebody didn't hit a minion, still in fountain, all good. Remake the game. No harm, no foul. That person
it's
gets
up to them.
gets a penalty. Keep it moving. I hated games where it's like they never got here, and now we're playing a 4v5 and we're going to lose. A really, really, really long time ago, a Reddit post was like, I don't know whether it was they took it from like a Riot API or Riot whatever, but it was like the longer a game goes that you're down a person, it becomes like exponentially harder to win that game. It's something insane. Like it starts off relatively close. So like let's say you're at like 20 minutes and someone doesn't show up. If it goes to like 25 minutes, you still have like a 90% chance to win. But then if it goes like another 5 minutes, that 90% turns into like a 30% chance to win. Like the drop off of your ability to win that game falls off so incredibly hard, it's not even funny. Let alone if you're like if it's in the super late game where everybody has full items, everybody's chalked up or you built up. It's just you're just it's not
It's
gonna
like
work out for you.
in that situation, that 45, you have to. It's like the jungler has to find the other jungler, start trading stuff off, and like you just whoever's the weak person, you just make sure they don't get to play the game,
No,
and you make sure they get to play.
effectively, the only way you win a 4v5, especially in the late game, is if the enemy team makes a mistake, because they can fight you 4v4 and have somebody split pushing, and you don't have anybody to answer the split push. They can fight you. They can 1-3-1 and just hold while you're trying to scramble to figure out, okay, do we try to stop the split push, or do we stop this slow push in the mid lane? There's a lot of things that they have control over when you're just down a person, that puts you in a really really bad position. Let alone if there's a someone on the enemy team that's also figured out a way to, what's what I'm looking for. Um,
Grief.
no, no, no. Like that's ahead. Like if you have like a, I don't know, like a 10-1 Zed on the enemy team, and you're playing down a player, GG. Nobody, you have, because you have to think, a Zed that's even, you still have to send two people to deal with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have to send two people to stop a Zed that's ahead, you have to send three people to deal with him, and then that only leaves you with one person to deal with the other four people on their team. You're just going to lose. It makes sense as to why it becomes exponentially more difficult to win 4v5s. And that's why I'm
And a
saying
lot of people,
I like the fact that we can just get out of those games sooner, get out of those games quicker, because that takes a toll on you when you're sitting in a game for 35, 40 minutes, knowing that you have a big fat L on your hand, and I'm talking from like season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5, where there are games that were literally unwinnable, but you're still trying because you're hoping either the person reconnects, you're hoping that the enemy team makes some mistakes, but more times than not, you were destined and doomed to lose that game.
yeah, I never forget. I won a VG tournament on a 4v5 hook play on Thresh and won the tournament. Man, but yeah, it's like it takes mistakes, and I can see your point. Again, I think a lot of people just don't understand how good we have it now versus then. That being said, a lot of people kind of wish they had that nuance to the game that it doesn't matter. It's like that broken on broken. Let's go. I'm not trying to math my game out. I'm just trying to have fun. And I
I th-
think me said this, and I think you can support this. League is not a reactionary game, it's a proactive thinking game. And what gets a lot of players, including myself, because I'm victim of can only play reactory, because I'm not thinking ahead what I'm doing, and if I can't get the people around me to think what we're ahead of doing. Sometimes we make bad decisions in the heat of the moment versus figuring out how to set up the next play, set up the play versus playing what's right here.
mhm.
Because we as Elo folk, they'll fight you. They don't know. They may not free. They don't know how to freeze on you, but they'll fight you for any reason.
It's on site.
Yes, it's the name of our bot lane. This is the bot lane when my brain's on. It's the round table Black Air Force energy.
Right.
Again, it only works when my brain is on. Most times it's not. And King's wondering what switch do I have to flip, turn it on.
Yeah. But
But every
no, to even discuss that point a little further. I mean, we often see people that what's what I'm looking for. They'll say, "Oh, League was better back in season 3. League was at its best in season 4. That's when it was really fun." And to me,
nostalgia
I'm like
bias.
super nostalgia bias, because there are so many things now. The only thing that I would say was better, but when I look at it, from when I pull back and look at it, it is just worse for a different role, was the vision game. The vision game was better just in the sense of you could place like 100 wards. Like you could literally light up the entire map. And for me, I like, playing, I do the strategizing. I like the field general kind of thing, where I know, oh, I know that they're top side. I know that they're rotating bot. I know this, that, and the third. And um just the, how do I silence my notifications for League? Anyway, because I have myself away, but people keep on still trying to add me to games, and I'm using the client for stuff that we're talking about. Anyway,
Eh,
um, But having the ability or the not information that you got through vision was great. The sad part or the downside was supports just became walking ward bots. I know there were games where back then I used to play support, not like as a support main, but I'd like be the last person on the I'd be the last person in the lobby. So of course I got support because for those that don't know, that's how it used to work. We didn't have roles. You couldn't queue up as a role. It was whatever order you came into the lobby. You would generally the first person would either call for mid, top, or AD carry. Then the next person would call for whatever was left over between those roles. Third person would get their the leftover of the three of those, and then the uh, fourth and fifth person would either be the support or the jungler or whatever the role that was the weakest at the time. And if you were the last person, you were generally always support. Therefore, you were playing with boots, an elixir that gave you vision. Like you would drink it and then you could walk around. It was like an elixir of scrying or some I can't remember the name of the elixir, but it put a little eyeball over your head and you could clear wards. Basically, it's kind of like what the scrying trinket does now. Not scrying with the red trinket. It's kind of like what the red trinket does now, except for it lasted way longer than like 10 seconds. Like you could basically clear out an entire quadrant of a map, and then like the next 3 or 4 of your slots was just wards. You literally played the game on broke boy salary with no next to no items. You might be able to get one item like a cleanse item or like an engage item or something, but other than that, you just had like 3 slots full of wards, boots, and maybe that one additional item, whether it was a McHale's or a bulwark or something. So
Give me wait. I am looking in the items of yesteryear, and also never forget we also used to have if we were lucky if we were lucky we'll have a harder goal harder
I mean,
gold
yeah. So I think the real difference is they reduce the
philosopher's stone too.
yeah they reduce the
Oh,
ability
it
for
was
you to
the
make money.
Oracle's elixir.
Oracle's elixir, yeah, because now it's Oracle's lens, right?
Yes,
Yeah. So they reduce the ability for you to just like make tons of money in the early game and get going, because like other smarter players realize, wait, if I just took these gold generating items on like a jungler while I'm still farming my camps and generating gold from like the passives, I could have more gold than the mid laner in like 10 minutes. So they had to realize, they had to advance and adapt with the player base and the change and the way people were doing it. So,
I remember. It's harder. It's a harder gold, and was an old turtle shell. Was like a kind of a callback to the Mario days, and Philosopher's Stone, which is like your support stone is best friend because he gave mana sustain. Yes, I
yeah.
looked up the items.
Yeah.
It's
So,
like
when people get caught up in nostalgia, I just kind of go, yeah, you either didn't actually play back then, because I think yes, there have been some follies, but a lot of times they you know, try to adjust and fix and adhere. And the way I look at it is, if League of Legends was like Madden or something, one of those other stupid game Call of Duties that releases a new game every year and then you have to pay another $60 for, we'd be on League of Legends 13 right now, right? Like, imagine having to pay, I don't know, however much 6 times 13 is. Um, well, 60 times 13, but you feel me? That's more than, and when we get to play this game for free. If you want to buy skins, you can.
600, 780.
Yeah. So imagine having to spend or be spending just under $1,000 without buying any cosmetics or anything like that, and we get this for free. And they make changes. They've adapted and kind of grown with the player base. and the game is in it's never in like the best spot, but that's how a live service game works. It's because it's always actively changing. It'll never be in like perfect balance, or it'll get to a point where they go, okay, we're not updating anymore, and people will just have to deal with what's ever super broken. And that's coming from like Smash Brothers right now. Tournament organizers in the Smash Brothers scene are banning like Steve. They're considering banning Kazuya because Smash updated its final update. It released a handful of champions, and then it didn't. It's no longer going to balance the game. Imagine if League of Legends,
What does that mean?
uh,
Because that's another one on the way.
huh?
Because there's another
No,
one on the way.
no, that's just what Smash does. They just go, yeah, we put the game out. We gave you a handful of champions that we want you guys to enjoy. We're not going to do this forever. And at some point, we're going to stop and you're just going to play the game. And then in 5 years, we might come out with another one. It might be 6 years. You never know.
Would you prefer that? Because that way, it's like you're not paying. It's a minus the paying for new champions. You're essentially getting to play the game.
So the positives and negatives of that come from if where the game is balanced or not balanced, right? So utilizing Smash again, um if so let's pretend League stopped updating at the Juggernaut patch back in like season 5, right? Can you imagine a world where Mordekaiser 80 carry can two-shot any champion on the map? Can you imagine it? Like, can you imagine
I
and
saw it
playing?
last night.
Huh?
I saw it last night.
You didn't see him two shot anybody. He probably bonked him, chased him around, was a whole terror. He didn't walk up, press a single button, and then his auto attack went, "You're dead." That's just not how he plays anymore. But back in the Juggernaut patch, when they made him a bot laner, that's how it works. So not only would he be like two, almost three levels higher than your enemy bot laner, but he had an ability that effectively could kill you instantaneously while he could still take abduct the dragon and take the dragon to go do Baron by himself with the dragon. Like,
Oh yeah, this is back when it's back when he didn't take you to the shower round. He just you died now.
yeah, like so people forget like we've come a very very long way, and there should be certain appreciations for how hard the game devs and how active the game devs are when it comes to trying to balance. Now yes, they'll do some changes and you're like, what were they thinking? Like I think there are champions that go super under the radar because of the roles that they're in, like Melio was broken. There's no reason why a champion should have an AoE cleanse and then have like a double shield on like a 4 second cooldown. Lilia, still the best design champion in the game. At me. At me. She's had one adjustment, I think. They made her they changed her from a range champion to a melee champion. I don't think she's ever been buffed or nerfed. She's literally League of Legends perfect champion. No buffs, no
Sejuani,
nerfs.
I would as a Sejuani main, I have to.
Yeah,
I have to
you're
say,
allowed to disagree, but look at they've literally had to rework Sejuani like twice. So
yes.
clearly,
It's like, and keep in mind, Permafrost used to be one of those builds. It used to swirl around,
yeah.
and
But
that's when like you had the hunting guy Sejuani that I kid you not, it was one of those screenshots I took back on my laptop that I actually sat there and carried the game.
what I'm saying is like Lily has gone under the radar mainly because one, she's awkward to play, but I see people play her top lane, they dominate. Player in the jungle, they dominate. Player support, they dominate. Player in the mid lane, she's a little weaker in the mid lane, but I've still seen Lilies do really, 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 really well. And again, it's one of those things that I'm always impressed by, just for that champion per se, that they could actually come out with a champion that's reasonably balanced. She's not overpowered, she's not underpowered. She's overpowered in the sense of the people that have, absorbent games on her do really well. But if you pick her up, like if you're just like, YOLO, I'm gonna play Lilia, you're gonna get smoked. So she's not like broken in that
Because
sense.
she has a high skills
Floor.
floor.
High skill floor, yeah. We were talking about that. But because
Which
she
then
has
brings me to this one fun topic as we approach the 1 hour mark of this wonderful return of the podcast. It brings me to this. As we know, we've seen many champions come and go, champion designs coming. gone. However, the one mode that is taking League by storm, I've already seen somewhere in the deep darks of Reddit a rank mode for 2v2 v2 v2.
2v2v2, where are you? That mode
They
is actually cracked. That mode is amazing. Like as long as it's here, I'm gonna play it. I've retired from ranked. No. I mean, if I'm being honest, I have been playing less ranked. I've been playing more TFT and more of this 2v2 mode. Generally because the 2v2 mode has kind of showed me that if I didn't have to depend on four other terrible teammates, I would actually be challenger. I think I have like a 65 or 70% first place like win rate over like I don't know 50 games, and then I have like a probably like an 80% top 2 rate. Like I one the game mode's really fun. I think the changes that they've made to it, they realize that League of Legends as a base is a good place to start, but I think they understand that like TFT is doing a lot of things well. So they added like the augments, they removed the runes and masteries because I think we're gonna get to a point where we just don't have runes and masteries of some sort because initially we had the super complex runes and
we have to
keystone.
play, you have to play the game. Then when playing the game, then you have to buy the runes,
Yeah,
and then you have to buy a whole. And then people like me who bought all 30 some rune pages for all my champions had to buy runes and quintessences to fit all that. Then reset.
yeah. You're
Now I
it,
get
like if anyone watches this that didn't play before like season 6, they'll have no idea what you're talking about because I believe that's when the 6 or 7 is when they changed to the keystone runes and keystone masteries or whatever. But regardless, with this new 2v2 mode, they don't have they don't have keystone, they don't have runes, so you just kind of go in, you can get runes from your augments, but you don't need them to win or to win the games and stuff like that. And the mode, I think the only way they could probably make it a little bit better is balancing some of the maps. Some of the maps don't really make sense, um just the way they're laid out. Like I get what they're trying to do, like, oh, we're gonna give like an artificial fog of war like here and in these different places, but where certain things are laid out, it inevitably gives certain teams um advantages that then make it so the team that's at a disadvantage has to play way more aggressively than they probably would under normal circumstances.
it was November. They removed November 8th, 2017.
What season was that? 2017 was
Season 7.
okay. Yeah, so I know us.
They
I
part
know
of
us close.
preseason. Oh yeah, they're taking out in. Yeah, they were taking out like you couldn't buy tier 1 rooms anymore, and all tier 2 rooms were bought for like for one IP. So they phased them out in season 6, but at the start of like 6, 7, it's like 7/22 season 7. They phased it completely out.
Got ya.
So again, like that's like right after the SK Telecom dominance, and you
Yeah.
start seeing the rise of the Chinese teams start winning worlds at
One
that time.
one thing that I wanted to talk to you about was I don't know if you've been paying attention or you follow the Korean the streamers that have just gone over to Korea to try to attack or tackle or challenge the Korean solo queue ladder. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but we had a Lauren reach rank 1 on the Korean ladder. Now, the last time I believe a North American player reached rank 1 on the North American ladder. Now, I might be wrong, but this is like season 2 and it was pole belter. I could be wrong, but it was and after since then, I think the highest anyone got was like TF Blade at like rank 3 last year before. So, I wanted to ask you, Do you think? Oh, and then like right now, like I said, he reached rank 1. There's nothing wrong with Lauren. He's a really good jungler. But there are like, I don't know, like 50 streamers, maybe 25 streamers that all went over there, and they're all already like masters. Some of them have hit challenger. Some of them can't like do it here sometimes. Like they get hard stuck in like grandmaster, but they're over in Korea getting challenger. So my question is, do you think because of the direction that Riot has changed the game, it's actually made it easier for worse players to do better in higher elos, if that makes sense?
I think the direction of your question is something that we covered in like the episode 2 of the podcast. Oh yes, I held up 3 fingers for 2. That showed how great my education was, boys and girls.
Mm-hmm.
But we covered this like earlier in the runs of the podcast, was the fact that the player pool in Korea is a different player pool than NA. This is why I'm wondering, and I even brought this up to streamers like Chim, aka Ash. Shout out to her, she's a good girl. Cool 80 carry main from graduate from Georgia, two-time champ, 2-time college football champion, playoff champion. Anyway, at the point. The problem we run across is I think the NA solo queue ladder is watered down with people who again don't really care because they play league out of habit. And while you're looking at a player pool in Korea that from the outside looking in, seems like players that at least understand how to math the game, where most of the player base that started with us is long and gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like how many people have we played league with that don't play league anymore? Because I
Tons.
remember I remember it used to be you, Tim, the dude who used to live in Germany, Michi, the guy who couldn't stand because he was dating Michi, and then yeah, I think I forgot his name. He stay with now they don't live staying together no more. Fate,
Yeah.
he used to play with Fate. Like, and then for me, I Aosha, who they were from Canada, with some kids when I was in college trying to start an esports team. I can tell how many people who started league don't play in league anymore. But as you go along through this journey, it's like a lot of players like they go pick up something else. Like you make fun of me playing iRacing because iRacing is
I don't
from
make
2000.
fun of you. I don't make fun of you playing iRacing. I make fun
You
of
make fun of the graphics.
I make fun of iRacing for existing in the state that it does.
Well, the source code goes back from the 90s, from back when back with source code that goes back to the 90s. That the game was made in 2008, and
I'm not trying to detract. You can continue on your point. I'm just
oh,
saying I
sorry,
don't make fun of
I'm
you.
uh,
Like
I'm standing
I encourage you to play whatever game makes you happy. I just look at iRacing and I go, why not Gran Turismo? But I digress.
because it's not. It's
Stop.
a.
Stop. Stop. Just go back to League of Legends discussion.
Okay, we're back. Now, yes, it's a shout out to Mike Myers for that one. Anyway, back to the point. Back to the original point. You hit this point where players are not playing the games like they used to play anymore. They're not there no more. As
Mhm.
we hit this point now, the solo queue ladder is different. The game is completely different, and everything we used to do out of habit is now doesn't work. And it's evidence it doesn't work anymore because you're seeing right now the biggest low elo carry support is full AD support misfortune.
What the highest rank support is full AD support misfortune?
Like the thing is that's winning in low elo is you playing like IE.
You know I'm gonna look it up.
It says this was a skill cap video. I'll show it to you.
I don't no, I'm looking at the stats. Keep on going though. Keep on explaining and I'll look at the stats.
Let me pull. I gotta go to the skill cap because
So
this is where I
if we're
found it.
in
It was a
ranking
guy.
in ranking from low analytics, it's Rakan, Rel, Pike. If you go by win rate, it's Poppy, Zyra, Shaco, and if you put it by let's call it 1%, it's Zyra, Shaco, Maokai are the highest winning. You don't see Misfortune if it's by 1% pick rate, Misfortune doesn't even make the list.
Nope, but I said I saw this video last night, and I said I went in and just straight up watched it just because I wanted to see what their thought patterns were, and this is what they were thinking. That basically I think it was a champion guy. It was a secret OP. This as the secret OP no one was playing,
Hmm.
and it's a they made this video. It's a 10-minute video.
So then I think when they do their sleeper OP videos, aren't those videos generally for low pick rate champions that have high win rates?
I
That's
got.
like,
I need to go look at because again, I think we saw misfortune like support misfortune. I got beat by basically the same thing the night before on last night during my loss streak. I got beat by Ezreal support Ash,
so
and I could.
support misfortune is currently the fourth worst support if you rank it by win rate. She has a 46.08% win rate over during this patch. Um she has I mean the win rate is abysmal, and I just don't know what to tell you.
It's a
Like
let
maybe
me.
maybe like I understand in like theory, like in theory, I get it, right? Like she has the E slow. You probably E max, right? Yeah, you E max the Q max. So she provides
Human,
a ton of slow and
it's straight,
utility.
oh, you playing like IE straight up like you're playing 80 carry, but you're like between it's like you're playing. It's like I saw this. It's like it's weird,
Okay,
but
maybe I have to
basically
watch the video, but I'm even looking at the
you
builds
probably
that
would,
the builds that they're showing, and in the builds
but
that they're showing her building Leandries, Rylai's, and
because
and Mandate. So, but keep on going.
I think it was one of Hector's OP pick.
Well, Hector's a whole like challenger player that smurfs in like I don't know like silver. So I take whatever whenever they're like we sent Hector to low elo a trillion times, and it's like yeah because he enjoys stomping people who don't know what they're doing compared to his skill level. Like he can like
Oh wait,
don't
I see what
worry he'll be like
King. I
yo
found it. This is why. This is why. Because this video came. Because this idea came from last year.
mm, mm,
This video came from
mm.
last year. They updated to the patch, but it's from last year. That's why. But it goes back to that theory where
So, see,
some
kids, this is why you always got to make sure you double check your homework because if you're talking about misfortune, AD misfortune is the strongest pick on the patch, and then you go and lock in AD misfortune and get ran over, I don't know what I did wrong. I played it just like the video told me to. I built right, I positioned, I did this, I did that, and I still lost. To come and find out that if you do a little bit of research, a little bit of homework, you'll find that she is literally the fourth worst support.
oh this makes I think this what turns it there. I think it came from Lily up from like Shaka 4. So this is how this that dates it. But basically, and I can see I see what the theory is, and I saw this against again Ash support. I'm trying to play like a combo with Rail. It's like we just can't go in. We literally can't do anything because I picked the wrong Rail when I probably should pick Nautilus. But I ran across that point where you can't get close. If you try to farm, you get hit, and then Airstreal just dashes and hits you for free. It's like it's that super
I
great
mean,
zone.
yeah.
It's that super
So,
great zone, which again it goes helps you. It goes back to why people were playing support Heimerdinger, where basically if you try to get close, if you think about getting to CS, and then once you run out of minions, it's
so
like, what up, fam?
I guess we could have a conversation briefly about like what to do in lanes, frustrating lanes such as that one. So set it up for me again. You were on it was Rel Ash versus
No, it's Ash, Ezreal,
okay, it was
Ezreal carrying
Ash
support.
Ezreal versus
I think I'm playing that game. Let me go look this. Let me go pull it up. Let me pull it up real quick because
okay.
I know that I lost that game hella hard.
Are you still? Because sometimes it makes you go away. View profile, match history,
I, I
and it was a loss. Who are you
yep.
playing?
I
You're
went 1-3-1.
1-3-11.
Yep. it was a Lucian. It was me and Lucian trying to go against an Ash. Is it me trying to go against an Ash Ezreal?
See, this is
It
like what I would say is either for the next podcast, especially if we're gonna do stuff like this, we have to figure out how to incorporate. Because think only because I'm using um what is it, OB or Streamlabs. Like if
Use
I
love.
want, I can I can bring this in. Let's see if it'll work. Screen capture, league. How do I bring in just the anyway? Maybe it's window capture or something.
It it
Display
it, it,
capture.
it probably that. I heard cat.
Did a cat make a noise?
Television.
Yeah, it's probably television. All right, let's see if I
What?
can do it this way. League client, and then
Oh, the
we're
lead cloud
gonna.
will be a game capture.
Oh, that's a game capture. Well, I want to be able to have game capture and screen capture. All
Oh,
right,
in that case, you
so
just do display
let's
in,
boom.
and then what you'll
So
do
so
is
I so
like,
I just brought it in. I'm showing the good folks at home uh the struggle that was. And the struggle that was shows us that um yes, you were on Rel 1, 3, and 11. You had a Timo top
yep.
in the 1, 2, and 3. Gragas Jungle 4, 7, and 6. Let's see, versus a Kindred. So your Gragas actually lost this game for you. He's down 6 CCS and was on the struggle bus.
And he's
Uh,
also playing AP. And then the next game after that, we
I'm
lose.
not. We're talking about this game. You got to focus on the
I'm
game that we're
sorry,
discussing.
I got distracted.
Yeah, we're talking about this game because if we start going off on tangents, then what? I got to click to the next one and try to figure out how they both court. No, each game is its own little like microcosm. If you're carrying things between game to game, then you're tilted, and playing tilted and moving on tilted is just a recipe for disaster. Um, but your Lucian, you and Lucian, I mean, your Lucian seemed to kind of run it down too because he also was that 40 CS down about 40 CS down,
Which
2K down
we
because
also got game. We also got hit by everybody in the grandma. Kendrick made a new home.
I gather that, but I'm just looking, and then I guess if I were to go into what damage charge, Zed was wilding out. The real tale of the tape is because you're on a tank, of course your damage numbers aren't going to be that high, so you'd have to look at damage taken, and your Grog is tanked most of the damage. You need to get your tank damage numbers up, which means you have to either initiate, engage. Your mitigated numbers are pretty good though, which means you're utilizing what is Rel's shield is on her passive, or is it on like her W?
It's on the it's a her shield comes on crash down.
Okay, so
So
it's
she
on
gets a
her
shield
E
like
then.
after she's not mounted.
Yeah. So you're using that damage mitigation pretty well, which is good. And then last but not least, the vision score. Their
I built a
Ash.
rocket too.
Well, hold on, because the tail of the tape isn't just the vision score. Because Ash should generally out vision score people because her hawk shot counts towards her vision score. But her wards play, she did leave you in the dust. So that's one of those things where these are rookie numbers. You need to double them, if not even triple them, considering that this Ash had more than double your ward score. And that probably would have helped. And let's see, Vision destroyed. You guys didn't really destroy a lot of wards, so that's fine. Control wards. She didn't place any control wards. But like I said, her vision score is going to look phenomenal because anytime she hawk shots and it shows somebody, that can increase her vision score. Um, Again, regardless, in a matchup like this, you can only control your bot lane to a certain extent, right? You can ward, you can try to position so that way if people do come in, you stop them from aggressing on the Lucian, and then you try to make your escape. With Rel, that probably looks like letting them run past you to get to Lucian, then doing the little knock up slam thing when they think they're going to get him, and then walking out, dusting off your shoulder, just dusting your jacket off.
Yeah. It also like throughout the night, the average elo I was playing in, some of that because of the numbers. Some of these games, I love some of these games. Some of them will go on the next game, but the average of the LP was it's one of those. If you don't carry,
You
you lose
lose.
double lose.
Oh yeah. So I
But
mean,
anyway,
those.
back. But yeah, but that's how it worked out. And going back to kind of like the you answered the question of how you feel feel. I like the idea of some of like changing like the format for the knockout round.
Okay,
We
we're going
covered
back to worlds. Gotcha.
is I'm covering what I'm going through because working through my brain bucket, right?
That's cool.
We managed to cover a couple tangents, including this little like how to deal with situations where things go awry, and me learning that I try to pick up a strategy that made for last season.
Hmm.
It's that
You're.
time, but it's nearly that obligatory time to mention that, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost Pick'em's time. As you know, once the field gets sorted out, it's that time to start picking who's going to make it in, who's going to make it next round, who's going to make it out of groups, who won't. And I hate to remind you that there is some couple of betting lines open, and you just don't want to look at them right now because the one thing about league, and it's really weird, as we mentioned earlier in the show, Worlds all depends upon what the patch is and what the meta turns out, and what the adaptation to the meta is. Because people scrim one meta, and then next thing you know, Yumi every game because it's Yumi.
What he's
Am I wrong?
what he's bringing up is the fact that I believe it was the 2020 or 2021 World Championship. The meta looked to be pretty well defined and figured out until
It was last
game.
year.
No,
She
I
spammed all.
yes,
What?
but what I'm saying is,
Oh,
going into 2020, I think it was 2020 Worlds because that was the one that they played remotely, or not remotely, but they did the weird, because it was COVID and all that.
they played Iceland.
Yeah, or whatever. And going into that tournament was looking like it was going to be a hyper hard engage, like any support, Nautilus support meta. And I want to say it was like game one of the tournament, SKT lock in Yumi and completely turn the tournament on its head. Completely turned the tournament on its head because it just turned into a scramble. People didn't realize how strong Yumi was, and by them making that the first champion that they like locked in, or the first game, and winning in such a devastating fashion, you had teams scrambling to figure out how to play, how to make Yumi work when they just spent months, prepping with Nautilus and you know Leonas and all this other stuff. So uh, Worlds is always very interesting. If you are a gambling person or a betting person, there are a sports line on different sports books as well as different crypto esports betting things. Maybe one day we will get a sponsorship. That'd be pretty dope.
I'm actually going back through for the betting lines for I'm actually going to look. I think I pulled this up because essentially I'm trying to talk Jeffrey Wright, who is I'm just gonna say he's a sports guy, columns guy, but he's
Mhm.
also somebody that he might pay attention if there's money on the line. Let's say it there. And I think one point I accidentally almost got an interview with him and Freak.
Man, I would have been very upset with myself because I'm not a gambler, but I would have been very upset with myself if I had decided to bet on last night's fight between Jake Paul and Nate Diaz. 'Cause I would have
Shut.
bet money that Nate Diaz would have showed up in form. I didn't realize that he wasn't going to take this match very seriously and just get pummeled for what, like 10 rounds or whatever.
Oh, bro! It's a shout out to the Paul family. Paul beats Rick. Is it Logan Paul beats Ricochet first to start off SummerSlam. Jake Paul gets the double on Nick Diaz. It
Yeah,
was a good winning. It was a good win for the Paul family.
it was. I'm not even like a Jake Paul hater or anything. I just think, especially with the talent that Nate Diaz has shown in the UFC, that he would have. I would have hoped that he would have taken this fight seriously, but clearly he didn't.
Hey, he won out. Yeah, he won anyway. He got paid.
Exactly.
It's like
Big,
we all wish
biggest,
to get.
biggest payday that he'll ever get. So
Yeah, but it's like it's a again it's a will break out. But this is like where this is where the segment is finally go real left on this one because we mentioned earlier about how the money can ruin things. As you know, the left is the Pac-12, which is one of the used is one was the one of the five P5 conferences in college athletics. Automatic bid to everything else, and they're a power league. They just
hmm
broke up
hmm
with their teams going to the Big Ten. Some of their teams go Colorado going back home to the Big 12, bringing Arizona State, and Utah with them. It's a Oregon and Washington going that way.
this is an esports.
UCLA,
This is an esports podcast, Ian.
I know, but I'm trying to tie it all together.
Then
So
make it make sense. This is an esports podcast, my G.
so you have all these teams breaking up, and you have the two teams left where like nobody wants. I mean, is it? But they all did this because of the television dollar that's associated. Like the cool thing about Twitch is like you don't pay for it, right? Twitch, YouTube, all the stuff rides on. At what point, for viewership's sake, will cause League in North America to have a blank, full blank? Because as we saw this year, they changed the dates, they changed how what times was the times the schedule was getting, and Jersey went that. Now it's going to pick up because of the special event known as Worlds coming around. But at what point are we looking at maybe LCS being an afterthought or being treated like the minor region it kind of is when you look at work outside of one Souls team results out of C9?
I think we're already kind of there with them making the changes to put LCS at a less optimal time slot. I mean, even this season when it came to LCK or not LCK, LEC, I was sometimes I'd find like games on like a Tuesday night and things like that, and finals or playoffs at a Wednesday night, and I was just really confused. And I don't fully understand if it's just that um, viewership in at least in NA must be down because they just don't want to compete with like your Call of Duty leagues or whatever other esport is hosting tournaments on the weekend, because it does not make sense to me why you'd put maybe your Premier League on a less optimal time slot for people who, work and this is like their leisure, their getaway, because you're putting it during times where people are driving home from work, kind of thing, or maybe still be at
Or
work if
God
they work
forbid,
late.
you're putting these matches on during the week when you're competing with actual sports.
That too,
Like
yeah.
because remember, like LCS used to be Friday, Saturday. Friday it used to be like either like Friday because LEC used to start in the morning, so 8 9 o'clock. So you catch a game Rainbow 10 o'clock, 8 9 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 10 11 12
Eastern Standard Time.
time. And then you'll get your NA matches right after that, starting at 2 3 and 4. But you also like was also mentioned that they're competing with the 2K League at that time. At the week time slot, they're competing with the 2K League and still pulling like 5,000 people up to now like 20, doing really well. iRacing, man, they're not competing with that time slot.
hmm
We barely get 1,000 for our Pro Series. That digress. They're competing with a lot of different esports and regular sports and normal television. Let's face the fact that since this time frame, there's a whole lot of options that you can do with your time instead of watch Pro League Legends. There's a whole bunch of shows you can stream. There's a whole bunch of regular television you can watch. There's a whole bunch of podcasts to listen to. Heck, you can be watching your streamers right now. Preferably us, because we love y'all and we really
Yeah.
want we want to make it big time. But us too. But you can hold And not to mention life came through a wrench in everyone's plans, and now everyone's having to grow up and having to do some things that they don't have time for. So you just wonder, as you build upon the last conversation, when it comes to its NA player base shrinking, as in the love for the game, because I know a lot of players that used to play League, they're playing either another game or they're coming back to play TFT because
Yeah,
they like the I don't have to deal with people mode.
yeah,
But it's like you just go back to that kind of a time frame. And then as you go back to the market, and this is what kind of screwed the Pac-12 over, they did a contract with Apple, the smallest, the
Use it towards a PlayStation 5
yay,
and just put them all towards that.
yay!
Yay! Wait, we get a PS5.
We finally getting the
Yay!
PlayStation 5, boys. We finally did it.
We did.
We
Uh,
did it.
did it. Is it? And the first game King gets is NBA 2K24 the Kobe edition.
Oh, yeah, we can do that for Christmas. That'd be pretty cool.
Is it the first game he gets for Christmas is the Kobe edition? 2K.
I mean, I was considering getting a business loan and doing it as part of the whole Ion Esports thing.
But is it anyway? Is it? I digress. But we celebrating that boy
True.
getting the PS5 finally.
True.
I think
Is it
great.
on the-
Just
on
came
the-
to me now.
That was a good thought.
I'm like, we really do have pretty much everything we need.
Yeah.
Hi, Lori.
Ian says hi.
Hi, Ian.
Is it show the wonderful fans that the woman's gonna make my man the happiest married man in the world?
Well, I mean, she's just walking.
Yeah, I know. That's like we tried.
Where's
we
Ross?
tried-
Oh, Ross. Where's Wally?
He's downstairs. I just flew back.
Okay, he's good.
trying to go home. Is it? Sorry, wrong alien. Sorry, wrong space movie. Wally.
Been hanging out with Mom.
Sorry.
Gotcha.
Sorry, wrong space movie, King.
All good.
Wally.
Yeah, I
Fade
know.
away.
Everybody either goes Wally or they go Walter White, and I'm just like, okay.
This is which by the way the popcorn commercial, the popcorn. Also, that guy died. One of the actors died. It was on Breaking Bad.
Yeah, the dude that played the guy in the wheelchair that rang the bell, he passed away yesterday.
Yeah, and he also Better Call Saul.
Yeah, I haven't
He
watched
passed.
Better Call Saul. I need to. Heard it's really good.
But yeah, also we're getting back to the streaming things that you can do with your time other than playing League of Legends.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the time slot and how the money is affecting, because I want to see how much money. And I wish Riot was a public company. It's not, because Tencent owns all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Dang you, Tencent. I want to know like what they keep what is the league making in their and how much money the league is making compared to everything else. And that's metadata we'll never get our hands on. And I really wish we can, because that kind of gauges where this conversation goes.
Riot has always stated that their professional scene is a advertising thing, and they lose money on the pro scene. They've said it time and time again that they don't make any money. Realistically, it's their loss leader. It brings people in to hopefully start playing League of Legends, where then the player base spends money on skins and other microtransactions. So
dang. That brings this question up. Basically, since special events run League of Legends, we used to see with the challenger skins.
Special events do not run. I object. Special events do not run League of Legends.
It runs the attention span. I'm sorry, I messed up. Basically, like you see people like special event. It's kind of like when someone hears something hears something that entices him, much like a kid at a birthday party says candy.
Mm-hmm.
Candy, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
But you wonder, like, what could up the ante? Because we see internationals with Dota leagues, kind of like sister, so to speak, cousin, sister, sort of. You see how they have skins that go into the player pool. The challenger skin used to be MSI used to go up into the player pool. What would be League's response to go into the world pool if they start using like the world skins to generate more money into the world pool?
Oh, they started that a couple years ago. The problem is because Riot and by proxy Tencent is such a greedy company, they like the amount I believe the amount of money that goes to the players for like their regions. Normally during the championship, it's like the emblems that you get, the little icons that you get, you know, uh, the what the summoner icons that are
Yes,
like
that turns into a little
and
temporary.
summoner emotes and whatnot. The teams get a percentage of that, and then I believe the teams a year later get a percentage of their championship skins. So Riot has a really bad habit, and they recently just nipped them in the bud a little bit recently, um, where they only give like 20% of the revenue of certain skins to either the team or to charities and things of that nature. Whereas like other companies will be like, all of the proceeds will go to the charity if you buy this skin, or like, or just a large chunk, like 50% or 65% or something like that. Whereas Riot is very staunch on being like, no, 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 no. All of the money comes to us. This is Riot's money. We don't really care about giving our money to other causes and the teams and the things that kind of make our company run. And then of course they'll say, well, yeah, we need to pay our designers and all the different teams. And it's like, you guys make more money than anything. Could you stop being so, I don't even know what the word is, and actually, because I
I'm wondering.
think player base, because I think to answer your initial question, the player base would stick around for beyond the special event games that pique their attention, or special game modes or whatever, if Riot even remotely pretended to care about the um the game beyond trying to make money.
I pointed at us because like a lot of time we just want them to care about us. The maybe not the super diehards that will grind out 14 hours a week playing rank when we should probably be, sleep,
Yeah,
cooking, washing the dishes, trending a whole bush outside of our house that is overgrown,
that's really funny.
knocking down a vine, stuff like it's like, man, it's a real adult type stuff.
Yeah,
But you hit that point where it's like, at what point do again you cause the older player base to wane out, and this new player base that's like, why would I play that when I could play this?
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
and we,
like Eternal Return. I think that's what Eternal Return just got its full game release. I believe. No, that's a game that's basically a MOBA mixed with what's the best way I could say? It's like a MOBA mixed with a battle royale. And it's also think League of Legends meets Genshin Impact meets um Call of Duty Warzone. So if you're already a fan, if you're already a fan of all the other games that are kind of popular with younger audiences, and then you have the aesthetics of the mobile game of like a Genshin, like I said, or at least the anime aesthetic, and then you are a MOBA, so you can bring in old school MOBA players and our real time RTS players, real time strategy game players. Like I don't know how well Eternal Return is going to do. I've I played it. I played it at PAX. I played it at PAX last year, and then I played it here. I haven't played it in a bit. I was gonna jump into it since they got its full actual release, which is really cool. And hopefully I get some cool fun stuff for being in the like I guess the beta and all that other stuff.
mm-hmm. And, yeah, I'm. It's like, I'm just going through looking at it because like that's what scares me as somebody who, again, I've seen this happen. I've seen this on the dance when you're trying to chase after that TV money, or you're trying to chase after all this other money,
Hmm.
and somebody gets left behind.
I might play Eternal Return tonight. I'm not gonna lie, this game was really fun. It's just hard, but it's one of those. Again, the learning curve is a little. It's like League. It's just like any MOBA. The learning curve's a little
What
steep, but then when you get it, it's like really
isn't
fun.
like all that stuff hard? Like, when do we not play something hard, right?
True.
But it gets back to it gets back to my initial point. It's like, at what point? Because at some point, like you said, there's thousands of games that can take your time. And Riot seems to be focusing. I think all the reason they moved the time slot, they moved EU to be move EU time. They moved NA to move closer to EU,
Hmm.
and EU is closer to the nighttime for LCQ when they go off.
Hmm.
Like it's like they keep moving these times to make it
So
easier for the other.
potentially the move was just to be like, okay, if you have somebody who's really invested in the scene, they can watch NA, then watch EU, then watch China, then watch Korea or something like that. Like it can go,
Well, we know that.
not seamlessly, but you can kind of go along and watch what you want to watch. So that might be what they.
And now, as I start getting my hands together, King, we about to. I said the thing I wanted to dive into was you had a plan. I had a plan,
Hmm.
but they never seemed to work out.
Okay.
So, King, for we started bringing up the tournament strategy. How? And I'm gonna bring up my little thing is how do you make this? We've mentioned it earlier, I think episode 2, and you made this a Reddit post and one of your clips in one of your mini clips back on the Esports podcast about demolishing the spring split.
Okay.
I'm not sure will we have time enough to go fully in depth into it,
I
but I
mean,
kind of
I've simplified mine. I'll let you go first because mine is very very easy. So you can go ahead.
oh mine's goes it's a I had a it's a I had, mine's a two to three prong strat. It works
Okay.
out. And it's 2 3 ideas. Number one, you turn it's a, because we all know that it doesn't really is it trying to make teams play long games like long season when you have like at least 3 to 4 different meta changes before you get to the grand finale. It makes no sense.
Hmm.
I is it we thought about bringing I thought about bringing back a lot of non-conference tournaments and like basically having MSI locked up for only those who qualified, like top blank in the region, right? Period.
Okay.
So like Worlds brings like top two, top three, top three, top four, top four, top four, top three to two to that. You turn MSI to you turn MSI turns into its own little championship. Those teams will play a whole bunch of tournaments against each other and against other teams that try to get a slot into it. So you make it like Champions League. The rest of the
Hmm.
teams are playing same matches throughout. They're playing the same amount of matches. The guys in this playing the MSI circuit are playing, and they're playing Rift Rivals events against teams that didn't make it. And you have
Okay.
these emerging regions playing these matches. You have these emerging regions coming into these events and trying to kick off butt between these 3 teams.
Yeah.
So you have this big non-conference schedule going on. You have MSI as the kicker. It's like the teams that don't make MSI. It's like even if you wanted to make the teams that play throughout the second and tertiary run get a shot to make MSI run. So be it, right? They all still gonna play the same amount of games,
Okay.
regardless.
Okay.
You make summer the only is it and MSI. Yeah, you win MSI. That's it. None of that matters. After once MSI is over, none of that matters. Summer is the only way you get into Worlds. Full stop. Full blank. Right? Because it's the closest meta to the meta you're gonna be playing into the tournament. Right?
Right.
But you have throughout there you set up deals with other regions to get this interest, to get the peak going, get these people salivating for some of these matchups. Like who doesn't want to see Chovy have to go against Chovy has to go against some both from DDG? Who doesn't want to see those matchups? Who doesn't want to see is it JoJo gets it going against Faker in an NA time game where they're playing over here?
Hmm.
Like who doesn't want to see like maybe the PCS pop off, beat some Chinese teams PCS region, knock off some Chinese teams, go and then wind up playing a hype game against some guys from Brazil. Who doesn't want like you trying to get these international shots early in the season and get some juice? They come back home playing a whole different scene, like a whole totally different styles instead of playing the same league. They're playing a different style, trying to copy somebody else because now you're stuck playing with all these teams in these pods. Go back home, summer. You play your domestic league, summer. Is it I said the original layout. You let those qualify top four, top three. NA you drop down plus or minus if you want to give another slot to another wild card team and make it 3-3 and give Europe that third one and then go drop. So I think Europe gets four, China gets four. No, China gets four, LPL gets four. It's a lick gets three, NA gets three. Knock down one, send it back to wild card. So NA gets two, and then you break that 22. You break the rest of that up and have them play the wild. So for this new tournament format.
Yeah.
You play your way out. If you don't make it, oh well, sucks to be you. But while you're not playing vacation time, you may not make it in automatically. But that slot that was destined to go to the wild card, now you get two, and you put a cutoff. You put the cutoff there to then you put the cutoff there and throw those teams in there. So now you're playing. Now they're having to start playing a gauntlet match to make it a world.
Yeah.
And even if they don't make it a world, it's a giant payoff based upon a marketing sale, like a skin sale, to get them in. So now you put a player pool for there. So even if it's like you take the Russian team that made it in, who won their first game. It's like they beat a wild. I think they beat a Korean team
Mm-hmm.
the first time in. I think it was Zuba Knox, Lunas Knox.
I was Nox
I
Luna.
was Knox. Yeah, you said they would put. You put a team like that, or Lau gets in the tournament. I think Lau would make it automatically in. They would make it to the play in automatically. But you throw in like kind of how we do it, how we do it, how we do it in PGRT for Thursday night race. The one I keep giving my $20 away and never making never making a chance to win the big money.
Mm-hmm.
You throw a pool into there, so all these teams that are last check and qualify to get in there, they win a pool. So even if they stink at Worlds, they still got paid. They still get a trophy. They still get paid, right?
Yeah.
They get paid more money than they would have made if they would have went trying to make it Worlds or not play at all, right?
Right.
So then sum it up. You make international regions. You turn MSI and you take the top blank and you want to cut off. If you want to make it 10, you make it a 20 team league. Just the best of the best, top two, or 18 team league, best of the best of the best of the best of the best, and then the last two come out of there. So whoever in the tournament, if the winners of that wild card
Mm-hmm.
go into the MSI bracket next year, and if you don't make it, like those teams fight those teams. The teams that make the wild card bracket to go into the play-in stage
Yeah.
will fight the teams that at the bottom of the top two, they'll face the bottom two, and to say they get to go in that bracket. That bracket pays more money. The MSI bracket pays a lot more money.
Mm-hmm.
So you get people want to play their best, right? At least for the
Right.
spring season. And so these guys are playing like international matches. So they're not playing domestic. They're playing the little league, but it's the league of the best of the best. But now it's paying a little bit more.
Yeah.
And you made MSI strictly his own thing. It doesn't get you in the worlds. It won't affect anything. However, the only thing it affects is your pocketbook.
So
Which,
I think I can agree with most of everything you said. The only thing really different that I would say is that for me, my adjustment or what I would do to change everything up, because I think I agree with your idea as far as making the summer split like super important, super valuable, and effectively the only way to go to Worlds. What I would do is then, instead of having a spring split and the whole sense of abolishing the spring split, is I would actually do a almost like like the Olympics. I started talking to you about it a little bit back, where you would send, let's say, uh your your three national teams. So we can still use the same regions, right? But you would send your three national teams. Now, what does that look like? Sometimes, if you have a super dominant team, your your tier one national team literally just might be that team, which is a little cheap, but like let's say it's a SKT or something. So you might literally just send SKT as team one. But team two might be like half of Hanwha Life and half of like, I don't know, Azubu Blaze or something. You know what I mean? Like in a perfect world, what you would do, so like an NA team would look something like, JoJo, Wild Turtle, uh what is it, Palafox? Like you'd have your first team all national or whatever represent all the way through your three teams, and you'd run it like an Olympics kind of thing. So instead of it just being like, oh, SKT is gonna go and actually represent, it'd be like, let's say you had Faker Dade Pond, and they're all the captain, they're the co-captains for each of the three teams. I think it'd be something really really cool to just see, you know, how that would play out. Now, how they would figure out the money, and because these players are contracted to their specific teams. But I mean, the NBA figures it out when it comes to the Olympics. Soccer teams figure it out. We send our best players, and I think it'd be something really really fun to see because we do MVP and first team all NA stuff like that over here. So it'd be really really cool to send our like first team NA teams over to do a competition against the best Chinese players and Korean players and European players that may not all be on the same team, and then you get to see, you know, kind of like it's like being able to see like LeBron and like KD and like AI and all on the same team or something. You know what I mean? People who would never normally be on the team because of a salary cap or because of the way the leagues
No,
trades
like
work.
it's how the All Star game works now, where you get
Yeah, but
which
the
by which
difference but the difference would be you'd get the All Star effect, but it'd be prestigious. Like they're playing for the valor of their country. They're
so
playing
basically
they're representing.
a better All Star.
Yeah,
So you start the year off with you start like the mid season. You start the year off with the All Stars.
yeah, better All
And
Star, I guess is the best way to put it. Then.
it's like I thought about that because like I also feel like All Stars should be at the middle. Like before the summer happens, like MSI happens, and then boom, you go right into the All Stars right there, like a halfway point.
Mhm.
Because I feel like All Stars need to be occurring in a patch where it shouldn't be like the end of the season where the whole game has changed.
Yeah.
It should be right there for the hype, right? So the best performers playing the All Star right there. So then that gives them a break, and then you can shorten the leagues down if you wanted to, or change the format, which is the other problem I think NA has a problem because nothing's standard. Like we know that NA plays best of ones, except for a
Mhm.
Super Week where they'll play 2 or 3 games,
Yeah.
maybe 4. And meanwhile, your
Until
boys and
until play until playoffs or whatever.
yeah, and then meanwhile, Korea's playing series, LPL's playing series, EU is still playing. Is playing one offs, I believe. They're playing one offs.
Yeah.
PCS plays. I think they play a series. But you see reads to play series like nothing's formatted,
Hmm.
and that's the other cool thing about my initial idea was, yeah, those MSI, you're not running game, you're running series, boo boo. Like this entire the entire scene, you're running wherever the host country is running. So Korea's get stuck playing the best of ones. Well, they're playing best of ones. But however,
That'd be pretty cool. Home, like give it the home team advantage kind of thing. Home
yeah,
format advantage. That's actually pretty cool. That I this is an
because like
expansion.
it's because it's almost about as weird as the fantasy draft idea. Because which is I think it's the only way LCS will really get its viewership up if you had a powerhouse like you. I hate it's like the same way how the is it the same way the Pac-10 no the Big Ten and the SEC are stealing these big time schools. Now you
Hmm.
have these super conferences, and you're getting eyeballs on you, right? Think about
Hmm.
it. If T1 plays in NA right now. It T1 plays in NA. If Chovy played in NA, hey, a series in NA. If JDG comes in, you have to you have CB Law come up and play in NA, like play in NA for like a split, like a little strict regency stuff. Some weird. You get a lot of hype. Most of the fact that no one sees these top rated players. You only see you see the top players in your region. You don't see the top players in the world at
Hmm.
some random point in your region. If they're in your region, it's probably to a tournament, but you never see them for a long period of time. Like think how crazy that'd be. It's like almost like a fantasy draft.
Yeah.
And I don't think the fantasy draft
But
model will
again,
work with league.
a fantasy draft that has an actual competitive, it's a fantasy all-star game that actually has a competitive narrative and merit to it because you're representing your country, similar to a World Cup, similar to the Olympics, you know, and it's not like, oh, we're just gonna go and like shoot around and all be like super super goofy buddy buddy. That's what the All-Star game's for. This would be like, I'm representing North America. I'm the North American. I'm first team North America. I'm playing with the guys that I competed against at the highest level, and now we're gonna uh, put our efforts together to show the world that we're not a joke. To show the world that this ain't for play.
Yeah, I can't. When I mean a fantasy draft, I'm talking about like the four, like either the four or the nine, the four. Like you put people in pods. I think I potted up with Oceania, LPL, LCK, Pod.
Gotcha.
You and then like the Middle East and Europe, their Pod, Africa, all those folks Pod. You can have CBLOL, LA, the Pod, and then
Gotcha.
you up is it you basically trade teams will get picked off a board, and then those teams will be playing in those regions. Like that was like idea number 4. Like basically
Okay.
like okay, so Korea can only pick one of their stars. One. Each team can only pick one, and everybody's up to get picked. So if your boy DRX is so DRX doesn't get if Chovy doesn't get locked down by if Gen G don't get locked down, if LCK picks up LCK might get first pick because they won Worlds or whatever.
Hmm.
So they go pick their team. China may pick up, hey, Chovy, why don't you come over here? And they're like, well, they didn't pick Faker. It's like, and it's like, well, hey Faker, why don't you come over here? So
Now
T1
that
plays.
that would be super entertaining. It would be very entertaining, but it detracts from what I want to accomplish in my little, like, I guess,
Yeah,
idea of
you
how
get
to.
what I'm coming from with that.
I do,
Basically,
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
slow
That
snake
would that
draft
would be
where
that would be fun. That would be fun.
because ultimately what's all it is, it's all about the league's about entertainment. This is all about marketing about the game, but no one cares about the regular season. Your ideas make it like a true Olympic style, Olympic region on region head to head combat, where I'm like, you know what? Let's get League of Legends back on ESPN again. And like, is it name that ESPN? Maybe get on Fox. Maybe get it somewhere that you thought you could never get to.
Hmm.
Because at this point, we know that people crave live entertainment because a lot of people cut the cord. A lot of people cut that cord that's pointing to the television or is over there. People cut the cord. Live entertainment runs a lot of things. The young generation streams. Our generation still wants to watch cartoons on the television. Our generation. That maybe not you personally, but our generation still watches television that way. That's why Cartoon Network is moving Adult Swim up a couple hours, and Cartoon Network is going down a couple hours because we're watching. Our generation is watching that. Why they're going for our stream? Ain't no point. Point being is you're seeing that this change in how things are being watched, and you wonder like how can League of Legends and LoL Esports catch up on that trend and stay
Hmm.
ahead because you fall behind in this landscape of entertainment, you may not catch back up. I.e., see the Pac-12 right now. They're about to be down to 2 teams, and those last 2 teams no one gives a blank about because they were good rivals for
Hmm.
the states they played in, but no one really gave a blank about them because they always been like there's the team that we're happy with they made a bowl if they went 6-6 and made a bowl game versus competing for a national championship every year. Make sense?
Yeah.
It's like they were never going to be like they're going to be at the Vanderbilt. Like Vanderbilt's there for baseball. We all know Vanderbilt's in the SEC because of baseball and grades. Football and they go 6-6. Oh, because baseball.
You slowed down, or you DC'd for like the last maybe like sentence that you said.
Basically, there's certain schools that are there for certain reasons, and basically, in a nutshell, is to tie everything in. If we do not have a reason for advertising dollars to want to be a part of the league and of this as a form of entertainment, it gets washed out. Like I
Mhm.
could see a world where NALCS becomes a wild card region and an afterthought because outside of C9's performances of Worlds, most of our entire performance in NA has been airport, airport. He said you might. He said what about MSI? I said that MSI. He said no one counts the MSI, even though it was nice seeing Liquid versus G2. That did go cray cray. I ain't gonna front. That game did go cray cray.
Yeah, it's pretty
Like
cool.
NA was so hyped to see that because G2 knocked off. I think G2 knocked off Faker.
Yeah,
We knocked off a Chinese team,
yeah.
and we made it was like Del Clasico is back again, and we about it, and then we get swept. It was like that was like the most
That
hyped
was
international moment of all
the
time.
feels bad
Like,
man moment right there.
hey, it's like both teams knocked out Eastern powerhouses and only to get their butts handed to them on with a 2-piece no biscuit extra side.
No
That was not good.
biscuit, no biscuit with
Two
nothing to
piece with no biscuit,
with no
straight.
with nothing to drink because they choked.
Exactly. But you hit that point where it's like that, and all
Yeah,
we want to do is be able to give NA a reason to want to watch these streams again. Like Riot tries with the drops, but let's be frank, more people are more hyped to see 2024 when Arcane comes back than spring LCS.
true.
And keep in mind, this is our region. They care more about the ships the ships that want to seize that started in Arcane 1 and Arcane 2 than they care about.
I think if Arcane really wants to go ham, and this is the tangent on my, I think what they should do is literally drop every story arc and line that they did in the first season, and then start with like Camille and Jin and like the other side of like Piltover and Zaun, or go to Noxus and stuff like that. So you really start doing some world building, and everybody's gonna be like, "But what happened with Caitlyn and Jinx, and Vi? What happened there?" And you make everybody wait a whole nother year to get back to that story, and then you make them wait another like 3 years. So then they have to watch the first season, and then they have to watch the second season, and then the third season you're in Demacia with like Garen and Lux and Silas and
It's the prequel to why that lady was why that Loxian lady was trying to cause havoc with Jace trying to
all
trying
sorts
to
of,
get
you do all sorts of cool stuff, right? And then when you've gotten all the pieces and all the stages in place, then you bring them all together, you converge. You could do a movie this way. You could just do it. Like the Avengers. You could do a movie. You could call it like Arcane Nox or something like that. You could just do an Arcane movie. It'd
it's
be
a riff it's a
riff
it's
rivals.
no, it's like somehow you explain why Zoe exists, and it's like, oh, is it now you start seeing why does Aurelian Soul and Zoe come in? It's like what the, it's like it's a maybe a disaster supposed to happen, and those two
I mean,
stop the disaster.
that'd be really cool if they went to Targon and stuff, and you get Soraka and Tarek and Pantheon like there's so much lore for TFT for League of Legends that
That
they could.
may have been erased after the journal,
Yeah. No, but what I'm
RP
saying,
journal.
no, I'm just saying like for them for them to draw from, you know. So
But yeah, like that's where I see your idea. But I went on that. I brought up Arcane to bring up the fact that again, more people, it's about the attention span and having people care because esports has turned so much into, as we mentioned, like episode 3,
yeah,
esports is become solely reactionary based. No one cares if JoJo develops into being a Korean killer mid lane. They only care about one thing.
yeah.
Dip. They only care. And but is it because again, League has kind of scrapped, and this is we covered that in episode 2 as well. League scrapped the way you get up with the franchise model. because you used to
Yeah.
be relegated in promotions.
Yeah.
Like there used to be a way to get in, and they
Now
tried this
it's
with
now it's
Clash,
now
but
it's buy your slot. Now it's just buy your slot.
yeah, it used to be a way, not or academy slot, but it's like used to be a point. And guess what? Academies, you're just picking and choosing people out of the ladder, where you mess up some team synergies. But like we need a way to build that up, and I think the best way to league to do that, especially if they want to branch out, they need to have it's like they have academies, but they need to have a net an NXT like WWE has NXT, but they have NXT level up. It's all the talent that wouldn't get time on NXT,
I mean,
like
during
a
the
one
during the
hour.
time, we should probably put this on the docket for the next episode since we're about to
Yes.
wrap up.
So we
But we
cover
should
again everything that we bring us rehashing. Like this is the
no,
episode that
I'm saying
yes,
we should
we
discuss
going too long. I get it,
a
but I'm
little.
saying
We should
everything we're doing is
discuss.
rehashing stuff that we covered in the past.
I know. I'm saying
But
we should discuss just briefly, not now, but in the next episode, briefly discuss how the player strike went.
I don't. I actually straight up wasn't aware of it. It's
Oh,
like when I was aware of it, it's like only reason I was aware of it because I saw Captain Flowers start playing Redemption when he finally had a job again,
that's funny.
and ultimately what it came down to is like I don't really know the contract situation. I do know the players want X, Riot makes Y, Riot wants to make X, the players want to make Y, and the issue running across is who cares because at the end of the day you're still the worst power region. You do not play League of Legends at a well enough number for me to care. You suck.
Damn,
You need to get better.
that's
Half of you are already imports for someone else.
that's
And you're
mean.
fine people, really fine people, but you're imports for someone else.
That's
Your
mean.
ladder as players who just don't care. You look at
Ian's
you have
out.
Title One of the great entertaining minds in solo queue.
Ian's out
We
here.
only entertain more people in solo queue than you can watch in your game.
He's going in. I think
I'm
that
a,
I think that wraps it up for today's episode, fellas. Ian has signed, sealed, and delivered his opinions and thought on where we stand as a region. I want to thank you all for stopping in. Drop by if you haven't. Please feel free to like, comment, share. Let us know what you thought about the episode. We will hopefully do one of these. Let's just say weekly. Let's just do one of these a week. Let's just make it a thing. We do one a week. We post it, and we have a good time. Um, and with that
because
being
I
said,
do apologize. I went in for a voice and it just stuck there because like. But yeah, thank you guys for coming up. Like I said, hopefully we can get this going because this is one of the things that helps me solve my problem as a content creator because I'm not making content. King is the content extraordinaire. You can catch him. You can catch him all over the East Coast in Buffalo. Stream at DJ Bad Weekend _ the Ruler.
that's me.
Check him out on his Instagram. Check him out. It's a check out on Instagrams. Check Twitter on Esports. Check him on his YouTube channel. Kicking it with King. Check him out there.
Kicking it
Check
with
him out
King.
on his Twitch. Check him on the Twitch. Call _ me King. Check out all the socials. Check him out. Good guy. But yeah, trying to get this content started because again, we've been in the esports realm too long to be sitting here and say all we do is play games and cry and you say and me cry and you listen to Ian cry about why this person trolled me and why I gotta hear this at 30 some years old at 2 o'clock in
Exactly.
the morning.
With that
Am
being
I
said,
wrong?
folks. With that being said, folks, we appreciate you. We love you. Make sure you, if you can, stop by your local SPCA. Walk those dogs. You can drop off treats. You can drop off food and toys and things like that. Because the doggos need walking, the cats need head pats. If you have a Veterans Association nearby, if you want to donate some of your time to give back to those that gave to us, please try and do so. And in the meantime, between time, be good to one another and tell somebody that you love them because you don't know how long, because you only got this life. That being said, my name's King. This is Race Crown. We're outie. 5,000.